Yeah, we got one.
Welcome to the Nuclear War Survival Challenge. How's this? This is crazy, hey? This one here should be all right. It's a serious crab. Have you ever had one of those weird dreams where the whole world experiences a nuclear explosion, everyone passes away, but somehow you're the only one that's managed to survive? Well, that is the survival challenge today. But we do have to get moving, guys, because the control room bunker behind us here is still radioactive from the explosion. So we got to get moving, but I've got one hell of a mind-blowing story to share with you guys in this episode. Now, I'll share with you what the hell I'm doing out here, as well as that crazy story a little bit later on. But let's get straight into the action, guys. As always, we've got to find some food, water. We'll do our best to find a bit of shelter as well. Try and get out of this spinifex grass to start with. This stuff is razor sharp. Every one of these points is like a needle. Spinifex grass has made way for this kind of apocalyptic volcano rock formations. It all seems a little bit unstable here, to be honest, but I want to try and get down to the water's edge down there. Now, this does look like something out of a nuclear explosion, but this is all actually sea salt. Now, if there wasn't the chance of absolutely poisoning myself with that, I'd be filling my pockets with some of that sea salt. It's a pretty nice vantage point from up here. I can actually look down into the shallows of the water. And if we can get something with this hand spear and get some food squared away, that'd be a great start to the day. I can see things already like stingrays through the shallows. They're a good backup plan, but I'll see if I can get a fish. Oh, wow. Plenty of oysters. Oh, I just spooked a big fish, bummer. I just spooked a big fish, but I was just saying there's plenty of oysters on all these rocks here. But I'm a bit hesitant to get stuck into eating these ones because shellfish, especially oysters, what they do is they filter the water, and I'm a bit nervous that they might actually be fairly radioactive now, having been filtering this water in this bay for so long. So I might give them a miss. All right, there's been a bit of wild and windy and rainy weather come in, so the only place I can really get out of it today is deep in the mangrove. So let's have a bit of a look around and just see what we can find today. I'm seeing a heap of little crabs and different shellfish in here, which is always interesting. Hell of a lot of sandflies and flies though. Where are we going to go from here? Through there? Check this one out. That was once a giant mud crab, but he's got a few battle wounds on there. I wonder if this means there's an even bigger one around. Something has killed this bloke, and generally speaking, the crabs will compete for the best holes and the best females and actually kill each other in doing so. So that might have been what happened to this one. Anyone home? I've just spotted another one that looks dead. I wonder what's killing all these big crabs. Oh, he is alive. That's a giant. I thought he was dead. He was just having a sleep, eh? Holy moly. Look at that beauty. Ooh, it's a serious crab. Come on, mate. Just want to have a look at you. Wow. Wow. Just want to have a little look at you, mate. Oh, wow. Now this is a beautiful, beautiful big mud crab. I actually thought this one was dead the way he was lying there with his eyes closed like that other one we saw earlier. So I just wanted to check on him, but what an absolute weapon, eh? Bright blue, beautiful, beautiful animal. Now this would normally be such a prized meal for in the mangroves here, but the testing they've done for the radiation levels has found a couple of things. If you dig below the surface too far, you're gonna end up with a heap of radiation. If you deal with any of the shellfish, you're gonna end up with a heap of the radiation. So for the mud crabs that spend a lifetime digging and eating shellfish, I reckon they're probably not the best bet to eat around here. All right, mate, I'll put you back where you belong. Wow, what a beauty, hey, in this clear water. All right, let's put him back where we found him. There you go, mate, back to sleep in there. Back to sleep, mate. You're right. As that tide is coming in behind you there, there's a heap of, I can see stingrays and sharks and shovel noses all pushing in over the flats as well. Looks like this entire bay will fill up with a whole heap of life once that tide comes in. Now guys, there's been a slight change in plan for this episode. For those that are new here, Fran, my girlfriend, and I are traveling around on a speedboat, and we're filming all of that for the Strick and Fran channel there. That shows the day-to-day stuff. Along the way, I'm sharing interesting survival stories for this channel here, Back to Basics. But I was hoping to do, you know, a couple of days survival challenge here on these islands, but I've run into a few complications, to be honest. We've got some crazy weather coming, so I need to be responsible to moving the boat in the afternoon to a safer anchorage with Fran on board. So I'm unable to just abandon the boat here and set off for a survival challenge for a few days. So that's a bit of a disclaimer, guys. We've got a boat in the background, and this episode is gonna be less about the survival challenge, and it's gonna be more about just sharing the crazy stories that these islands have to offer. I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. Let's get into it. Oh. How's this? How's this? This is crazy, hey? This is one of the bunkers. What a crazy view from up here overlooking these paradise islands, but I've got to limit my time up here because there's still a hell of a lot of radiation apparently in amongst, especially all the metal and that type of stuff from the nuclear explosion. So I've got to limit my time around these type of areas, but I just wanted to come up and see what it looked like from up here. What an epic, epic view. All right, story time. So let's cast our mind back to the early 1950s. The Cold War is just heating up and nuclear weapons are very much trending. Russia has just set one off as a trial. The USA have also set one off. Britain, they feel they need to get with the times. It's time to start testing some nuclear weapons. But you can't exactly set a nuclear bomb up in downtown London. So they turn to their smaller brothers, their smaller allies, Australia in the land down under, and basically ask, hey guys, you've got a few spare islands that aren't really doing much over your side of the world. Are we able to test a few nuclear bombs on it? Australia, for some unbeknownst reason, goes, yeah, no worries, mate, send them over. Are they bad for us? Are they any good, or what do they do? Don't worry, you'll be fine. Just test them out. We'll see how it goes. The wheels were then in motion for 3 nuclear bombs to come and be tested on these remote islands off the west coast of Australia. Back then, these were seen as absolutely good for nothing. Harsh, barren old islands that no good could possibly come from them. There was a control panel built where we first started the episode, as well as a couple of bunkers around the place in order for this operation to go down. The first nuclear bomb that was tested, it came in on a ship, and the idea being that Britain wanted to test what a nuclear bomb would do to a ship, fearing that the enemy might one day sail a ship into one of its harbors and then let it go. Once that was detonated, we soon found out what a nuclear bomb does to a ship. It completely decimates it, leaving only a propeller sitting on the bottom. It blows a hole in the ocean that can still be seen on the navigational charts today, and just sends a nuclear shockwave for miles and miles and miles. The second and the third nuclear bombs, they were both to be set off on land. One down this way on this island, and the other one down yonder over there. And when they went off, they were detonated with 6 times the force of the bomb that blew up Hiroshima back in the day. The impact of these bombs was so massive that it wiped out all the flora and fauna, all the animals in the area. But it was then, years after, basically the silent killer of the nuclear radiation, which really caused the most problems. Any workers that were involved with it, any people on the mainland that were nearby, everyone had all sorts of complications for years and years to come afterwards. The islands were completely closed down and off limits for a number of years, and now you can visit them, but there's all sorts of rules you got to play by. Only a certain amount of time in certain areas and whatnot. So anyway, my time is probably just about up, so I'm going to enjoy this view while I can, and then we've got to head down and move on to the next spot. So visiting places like these and hearing about these stories and recounting these more crazy or hostile times makes me so appreciative of the day and age that we live in here, especially in Australia, to live in a world of peace, and that we're able to enjoy islands like this for all the natural beauty they offer and not have to worry about kind of a nuclear war going on in the background. Well, not for now anyway. As the radiation levels here are lowering over the years, nature has made a remarkable comeback, and from here I've got a pretty amazing bird's eye view looking down over this beach here, which is just lined the whole way along with turtle tracks coming up to nest this time of the year. In the blue water offshore, I could see a lot of turtles stacked on top of each other. It's mating season here for the turtles. They put on quite a show. So that's an amazing ecosystem just offshore here. We're hoping to tap into that a little bit later on with some fish or crayfish or something like that, because as always, we're relying on the ocean for seafood and protein, and we'll do our best to catch something a little bit later on. Just wanted to let you guys know the B2B range has just been restocked. You viewers are the first to know and get the first crack at it. It's been selling out with every drop, so get in quick this time. We've got lightweight fishing jerseys, work shirts, heap of stylish tees, hats, beanies, hoodies, filleting knives, the works. So everything you see us wearing in the episodes is available online. Just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for supporting the brand. It's so good to see you wearing and loving the gear, and it actually helps make these episodes possible. Here's these turtle tracks here, and pretty well the whole length of this beach is covered in them, which is really great to see. Certainly no shortage of turtles around these days off the coast of Australia. Whoa, have a look at this salt mine. This is pure ocean salt. It's thick too. Look at that. So this would have started out as a rock pool like this one behind us with water in it. Of course, as the sun beats down on it, all the liquid evaporates, leaving behind just the salt. And that is 100% pure sea salt. Now that looks a lot like a shipwreck to me, doesn't it? Looks like the bow of a boat. Looks a hell of a lot like a shipwreck, the bow and almost the mast of a boat. I'm gonna have to jump in with a mask and check that one out a bit later. This island is full of all sorts of amazing history, and I read an archaeological report that speaks about a bit of a mystery as to whether or not humans ever lived on this group of islands, and the answers might lie in this cave up here, they reckon. So I'm pretty keen to go check it out. So these islands sure do have a pretty crazy history, hey? But way back in the day, I'm talking a long time before the nuclear testing happened, tens of thousands of years earlier, the Aboriginal people somehow lived and managed to thrive out in this environment, but they weren't alone. With them were what's described as the megafauna of Australia. Now, these animals sort of need to be seen to be believed. There was a kangaroo that once stood about 6 meters tall, giant kangaroo. There was a giant wombat-looking animal, which is the size of a vehicle, a motor vehicle. And these animals lived out here, roamed through the plains back when the Aboriginal people used to live here as well. But there's a bit of a mystery as to what happened to the Aboriginal people and where they might have went. And the answers might lie behind us here in this little cave. I've read a couple of archaeological reports that speak about this cave, and they might unearth this mystery. Let's go check it out. This is really cool. Having read about these sites, it's nice to actually see them in person. Let's get out of the sun for a minute and I'll tell you what's so interesting about this place. There's dolphins just cruising along there. I just heard the breath of something. It almost scared me a bit, but yeah, there's dolphins just cruising along. So cave systems like this can serve as a bit of a time capsule and give us an insight into how the ancient people used to live out here. And what the archaeologists found in this site is all over these islands and digging around here, there's plenty evidence of life all the way back 30,000 years ago. Plenty of people lived here all the way up until about 8,000 years ago. Civilization here just comes to an abrupt end. And that raised a few questions, like what happened? What caused all of humankind to leave these remote islands that once were seemingly such a teeming place of life? And the answer they came up with is surrounding us, the ocean. So what happened about 8,000 years ago? The water dramatically rose. And everywhere we see here that was water once was dry plains. So where we're seeing dolphins and turtles cruising past, chances are back in the day we might have been looking at these giant kangaroos that stood 6 meters tall and the giant wombats the size of motor vehicles cruising around in this plain here. But once that water level rose, it isolated these islands. With no major food source out here, it meant that life for humans could no longer be sustained here, and left with no other choice, all the humans were forced to move to mainland Australia, leaving these islands out here with no other humans on them for 7,800 years until a shipwreck ran into the coast over there. But that's a story for another time, which I've done a survival episode on. You're welcome to check that one out as well. Man, there's so many cool stories happening out at this place. You don't need to be an archaeologist to work out what's going on here. This is clearly a fireplace. You can see sort of shell middens and bones and stuff like that. I don't want to go digging around too much because these places I feel need to be preserved. But some of the interesting things they did find once they dug here, they found a giant crocodile's teeth along with bones of various mammals and that type of thing. So pretty cool anyway. Oh, actually quite amazing. So it's amazing to think that these coastal caves would have once been the top of a mountain range looking over a grassy valley. And the areas where we go spearfishing down there underneath in the water would have once been caves probably similar to this, with all sorts of artifacts hidden in there for forever, I guess. All right, let's keep exploring. Oh man, it's heating up out here now. There's another ridge line here with a heap of caves in it, so I'm just gonna walk along here, poke my head in, see what I can find. Whoa. This one must be the penthouse suite. Holy moly, it's massive. Looks like the front of the cave might have actually caved in. Man, this is beautiful. Wow, check this out, guys. Now, I must admit, this one's got a pretty special feeling about it. I wonder how much has changed since those ancient people left about 8,000 years ago. I mean, this has withstood 3 nuclear bomb tests just within this vicinity, and it's stood the test of time, hasn't it? It's quite cozy. It is quite nice just to see no footprints, no litter, absolutely nothing in here. Apart from, I've spotted a few ancient artifacts, kind of like sharpened cutting or grinding stones, as well as shell middens that they would have eaten back in the day. Oh, it just keeps going and going, this place. Now, I'm no expert, but I don't think this is an 8,000-year-old fish. What I think more likely has happened is we might have stumbled across an osprey's nest. They look like a big seagull and they feed on fish and that type of thing. And he's probably come up and had a feed up here. It's just strange that fish is in a shell midden site where these have been fairly deliberately cracked open by a human in order to get the snail out that lives in there and eat it. He must have sat up there, dropped his fish, that's come tumbling down and landed in this site. Oysters. Amazing spot, hey? It's fairly cozy in there. Talk about a room with a view. Oh, actually, there's a couple of ospreys there. They might have been the culprits of that fish inside I was looking at. Oh, it looks like this was all once a cave system here, but those rocks might have crumbled over the top of them. I wonder what that could have been caused by. Perhaps one of the 3 nuclear bombs. Ooh. Yeah, a lot of these look a little bit fragile. They're just sort of held together by 1 or 2 crumbly stones. You kind of feel if you pull one out, it'd be like that game of Jenga where everything comes crashing down. And I don't want to be in there for when that happens. Yeah, there's that osprey's nest. He's got the best seat in the house. What a view. There's a couple of big eggs in here. 3 big eggs. All right, I'm gonna get out of here so I don't put them off. But they're massive, hey? Big eggs. Won't be long until they hatch. Now for a food source, this looks like the most substantial bit of bush tucker we've found. But this brought a lot of early European explorers unstuck. So although it looks like a nice juicy snow pea, if I was to eat just this, it'd just about kill me. You eat enough of them, it certainly will kill you. And the Aboriginal people of Australia knew that. And in order to eat these, there's a fair bit of a process you got to go through. You got to wash them for a certain period of time. You got to burn the hell out of them, wash them again, smash them all up, do all this sort of crazy recipe, and then you can eat them without dying. I do wonder how many people had to sort of play the guinea pig until they got the exact recipe down packed though. But anyway, I won't be taking my chances with these. Although the good news, from the same vine, you can eat the little purple flower. This one here should be all right. Tastes pretty good actually. Looks like this one, I assume, has just died of exhaustion. She's kind of picked a pretty hard path to come up and lay, and I assume the midday heat must have got the better of her and she's perished. But the silver lining for her though is that for everyone we see that's passed away, there's plenty more that have made it up and laid. Yeah, I'm hoping that incoming tide brings in some clear water and will also allow us to get a little bit further away from the radiation. That might be where we've got our best chance at finding something good to eat, under the water. So let's gear up and dive in.
We got one.
Maybe it's something to do with the radiation levels, but wow, the crustaceans here are gigantic. It was about at this point that the weather really started to break down and take a turn for the worse. And the next morning, we needed to leave these remote islands. Out here, you've just got to play with the cards that nature throws at you. I hope to get back here one day to finish what I started with, the Nuclear Explosion Survival Challenge. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. Massive thank you for watching.